Hey guys, I'm Mary Master back for another What If. This is part 2 of What If naofumi. No, jin-woo replaced naofumi in Rise of the Shield Hero. Last episode was just a catch up because I left out one of the arcs. Now we get into the next part. Raftalia learns that spell, which allows her to use her light magic for attack and her dark magic. This is to use the scroll, and learns two different types of magic. One was dark magic, one was light magic. Light magic allowed her to attack, and dark magic allowed her to defend herself a little, which was really useful for her. And also Philo was just hatched, and they did everything the same, and they still got the cart. Instead of naofumi getting the cart for free, he bought the cart, and this time it wasn't a broken down car. He bought a brand new, really well looked after, brand new, newly made car, which was quite expensive, but he put on that cart, he put a lot of magic defenses, and by using some magic stones and magic stones, by using some magic stones, and they head out. Naofumi runs into a village which has plants growing everywhere. He's in his mind, he's thinking, what could have done this? And just as in canon, he kills everyone. And when he finds out that the spear hero did this, he's really a lot more angrier than in canon. And instead of him making it so that naofumi is no longer going around for money and telling people he wants money, this time he's asking people to join him into rebuilding the kingdom properly. And all the villages so far that have been, he doesn't ask them straight away when he saves them, and he says, ask the lord of the village, would you help me in the future? And they obviously say yes. And naofumi, after defeating the monster, asks the village lord, and he says yes. And they move on to the next village, which has an epidemic sweeping the land, and naofumi figures out that it was a dragon, and this time he does not have to. Raftalia is not damaged, and Raftalia does not get the curse, and he defeats the dragon with relative ease. It does the poison breath, but he's immune to poison, and he puts all his power behind defending Raftalia and Philo. But Philo decides to jump as in canon, but Philo is a lot stronger than in canon, and Philo cuts the head off the dragon in one strike, and this makes the dragon fall. And naofumi sees the crystal, the large one and the small one. and Naofumi puts both of them into his shield, and one of them gives him poison breath. When he puts the small one in, it gives him poison breath, and the other gives him dragon shield. When he activates it, it gives him armor as he would have gotten if he had the dark shield. And he starts to prepare for the next wave. As he's doing this, he decides that he needs much stronger armor for himself and Raftalia and Philo. He and goes and meets the same armor smith as in canon, and he notices the two stars next to Philo's and Raftalia's name, and he asks him, as in canon, what they mean, and he tells them what they are and stuff like that. So he tells them that it's a class upgrade, and Naofumi decides to go to the church and get the upgrades. Instead of he doesn't get the upgrades as in canon, and this tips the scales of him rebelling and attacking the capital. He basically decides that it's time that he leaves this place, and he goes, and not caring about the wave, he goes and goes to another country and goes to the no, not another country, goes to the slave trader again, and then he buys a weapon for Philo and armor for Raftalia from him. And this time he decides to forge a sword on him by himself, and then he decides to leave the kingdom and leave without attacking the wave. This time the village is destroyed. The village is destroyed by the wave, and everyone in the kingdom blames him, and he's no longer in the kingdom. He decides to go to Ireland, which is known to be uninhabited. He starts to build a house for himself. Then, as people that he saved hear of it, they start to find where it is. And they all go to the island, building their homes there and new lives, starting new lives, growing food and all that. Raftali and Fido all there. As the place grows, slowly from one house, two, three, then a village, town, then into a city, slowly growing even more. It gets to a point where there's not enough space on the island anymore for everyone. Now for me goes to someone in the one of the other kingdoms and finds a spell which allows him to create um the since him having uh, a lot of mana, and he learns a spell and activates it around the island, which grows the island to triple the size. So he's slowly building a new nation. Once he increases the size of the island, he decides to call the island Rising, because he grew the island from nothing, pretty much, and he calls the nation nation Defense Guard. That's the best I could come up with. Let me know if you guys can come up with another. I'm gonna leave it here for today. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.